When you think of Colleen Hoover, you probably think of those heart-wrenching, twisty romances, right? Well, what happens when the biggest twist isn't some huge secret, but the incredibly complicated, messy relationship between a mom and her daughter? Today, we're unpacking her powerful and, yeah, deeply emotional novel, Regretting You. So let's just get right to it. The question every CoHo fan is thinking: is this her most emotional book ever? I mean, that is a really high bar to clear, but Regretting You, it makes a seriously powerful case. Let's break down why.
Okay, so if you're going into this expecting that signature dark romance and those jaw-dropping what just happened plot twists, well, Regretting You might be a bit of a curveball. The book kind of shifts gears away from those wild plots and dives straight into a much more intimate and honestly devastating kind of drama.
When you strip everything else away, what this book is really about is the messy, beautiful, and oh so complicated bond between a mother, Morgan, and her teenage daughter, Clara. That relationship, it's the absolute sun the rest of the story orbits around.
So what are we getting ourselves into emotionally? Well, the story is really built on some heavy-hitting themes. We're talking about deep, profound grief, the kind of betrayal that cuts you to the core, and those long-buried family secrets that, have the power to just blow everything up.
With all that in mind, the next big question is pretty obvious. Is this the right book for you? Let's try to figure out who's really going to connect with this story and these characters.
What's so interesting about this book is that it kind of lives in two different worlds. On one hand, you've got all the angst and first love feelings of a young adult novel. But on the other, it's totally grounded in the heavy, complex family stuff you'd find in adult contemporary fiction. It just hits this perfect sweet spot right in the middle.
For all the CoHo fans out there, here's a good way to think about it. If you were totally captivated by the raw, emotional gut punch of It Ends With Us, but you're looking for a story that's more about family dynamics than a single romance, then yeah, this should 100% be the next book you pick up.
All right, let's get into the heart of it. What is this story really digging into? We're going to unpack the big themes and the really unique way it's told that makes this book so compelling and sometimes so tough to get through.
First up, complex grief. The book does this brilliant job of showing how a mother and daughter can be mourning the exact same person, but in completely opposite ways. See, one is clinging to this perfect, idealized memory, while the other is dealing with a brand new, ugly truth. And that difference between them, it creates this huge, painful chasm. Okay, next theme, and this one drives so much of the story: miscommunication. And listen, if you're the kind of reader who gets super frustrated when characters just refuse to talk to each other, you've been warned. This book is basically a deep dive into how silence and secrets can end up being way more destructive than the truth ever could be. And of course, it wouldn't be a Colleen Hoover book without a powerful romance, right? But this one, it's forbidden. It's all tangled up and constrained by family loyalty and this deep sense of loss. It just adds this whole other layer of tension to an already stressful situation.
Now, the one feature that makes this book truly stand out is its use of a dual point of view. We switch back and forth chapter by chapter between Morgan the mom and Clara the daughter, and it is a masterclass in empathy. Seriously, just when you're getting so frustrated with one of them, the perspective flips, and suddenly you get exactly why she's doing what she's doing.
All right, but let's be real. No book is for everyone. So let's break down the good and the maybe not so good to give you a clear, honest picture of what it's like to read this thing.
Okay, on the pro side, this book is a super fast-paced, emotional page-turner. The characters feel so real. They're flawed and messy, and you just get them. Now for the cons, the miscommunication thing, it is heavy. If it drives you nuts when people won't just have one honest conversation, you might get a little frustrated. It's also an incredibly heavy read, and I'm not kidding, have tissues nearby. And for some readers, the intense YA drama might feel like a bit much. So after all that, what's the bottom line? Where do we land? Here is our final verdict on Regretting You. If there's one single message you take away from this book, it's this. It's this really poignant and, yeah, sometimes painful reminder that our parents are just people. Complex people with their own pasts. And that kids, they're often so much stronger and more resilient than we ever give them credit for. So, who is this book for? It's pretty simple, really. If you're in the mood for a book that will absolutely make you cry, like a good, ugly cry, but you also want one that leaves you with a feeling of real, hard-won hope at the end, then this is it. This is the book for you.
Taking everything into account, the emotional depth, the amazing characters, the powerful themes, we're giving Regretting You a really solid 4 out of 5 stars.
And we'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you're reading a story about family conflict, have you ever found yourself actually siding with the parent instead of the younger main character? It's something this book will definitely make you think about.